All right. My name is Kim Cooper Findling. I'm the editor of Ben Magazine, and today I'm a volunteer with Ben Film. I was on the Ben Film board for 5 years a while back. I'm here with Chelsey Magness and Scott McGrath of With Spirit, a documentary that played at Ben Film these last few weeks and that I loved. So I'm super excited to be here with you guys. Chelsey, I'm going to start with a question for you, if that's all right.
Yeah.
I have never adventure raced, but I have lost a baby. So I could relate to that. And
Yeah.
what resonated with me with the film and with your story was the sort of combo pack that a woman moves forward from an experience like this with of vulnerability and strength, sort of this equal package, and you taking that combo pack not only into your own life and racing, but also into this very male world, this very female motherly experience into what is just by nature a very male world of adventure racing and elite athletes, and even your own family seems to be consisting all of males. So I just would like to start with you talking a little bit about your feelings on that experience within the film and maybe even just beyond, what it's like to move in that world.
Yeah, it is a very male-dominated world for me. I have all boys, 2 boys now, and then Spirit, a boy, and then my husband. So it's been very important for me to be vulnerable and hold that space and let them see that it's okay to show your feelings and to share them and to not be scared of them and not to hold them in, but to release them. So during Max is my 3-year-old's temper tantrum, I'm like there with him saying, it's okay to feel this way. It's completely good. And I hear you and I'm listening. And then fortunately, my husband actually, yes, he is male, but I am actually a lot of the times the more dominant one in our relationship. He is also a very vulnerable guy, emotional guy, which I'm very fortunate about. And he's actually taught me a lot about how to be, or he's been helping me cultivate this vulnerability in myself and to not have this wall up. So when we lost Spirit, he was actually the one to say like, hey, Chelsey, like you are healing through sharing this with your words, through your blogs, through me. Keep doing that, keep spilling this out because the world needs this. And so he was actually a huge supporter in me behind all of that, of sharing it and to not be scared about it. But like to have his back and his support saying the world needs more of this was a beautiful thing for me.
Yeah.
And then in our team, that's like, I race with him. I race with my husband. I race with my best friend too, who couldn't go into Patagonia because he had just had a baby. And Lars and Alex, who are in the film and who went with us, they are both very strong, amazing guys, but they are also vulnerable and honest and funny and open about everything. So I feel very lucky in that, yes, I am in this male dominant world of adventure racing, which more and more women are coming on aboard and are excited about. So I'm excited about that. But the men that I am surrounded around, the men that I surround myself around are actual role models for me too, to let that softer side of me come out. So hope that answered your question.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, it resonated in the film. I think that everyone was open to you bringing that experience along. Scott, sort of coming at the same question, but what resonated to you with this story? How did you come to this film and this story?
Yeah, it's kind of I feel like an interloper kind of telling this story, because I can't relate to it on so many levels. But I think at the same time, that's kind of why I'm drawn to it is, I don't know, like I'm a straight white male, and, that's pretty boring to me. Like, I live it. It's not very interesting or difficult. So I think I'm always drawn to stories that inspire me more than anything. And I mean, Chelsey has always been so open about her journey. I mean, I never would have approached her with it otherwise. I never even would have crossed my mind, because it is so personal and intimate. But with her being so open about it, I really just, her being an adventure racer, and I've been shooting adventure racing for a long time. I know how good of a metaphor it is for all of life, and how powerful it can be in bringing emotions out in people. So yeah, I mean, it really wasn't a film that was supposed to happen, really. I was supposed to get on to Patagonia and just cover the team.
Okay.
But I knew that I wanted to get something more out of it. And, I approached Chelsey with the idea. It's kind of like, hey, I'd also like to try and shoot this, and, hopefully if make it into something. And she was just totally down. Just like, yeah, sure, whatever you need. We can, deliver the story to more people. And I think that'd be good. To me, that's just like, what's wrong with you? Like, I don't know. Wow. Like, that's incredible to me. So, as much as I think it's important for women to be involved in telling women's stories, I don't, it was an opportunity for a film that just probably wouldn't have happened otherwise. And I'm really just grateful that I was able to be a part of that. And then Chelsey was so forthcoming.
So you were already planning on tagging along on this race and shooting? Is that what was going on? And then you...
Yeah. Basically, the team sent myself and 2 other media personnel down there to cover the team, just a general kind of race coverage for their sponsors. And, they thought they had a pretty good shot this year at winning it. And turns out they were right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's one of my next questions is, obviously it would appear that you tagged along, which means that you were doing some of this racing by default. I mean, what was that like? What was shooting like?
It was pretty easy. Next question. Yeah, it was a nightmare. I mean, adventure races are always such a unique challenge, and the Patagonian race is the epitome of that, which is what makes it so good, because it is, it's billed as the last wild race, and it lives up to it, because, the teams are just out there. And in terms of accessibility, in terms of support, forget it. Like, you have to be able to follow a team through these environments, or you're not going to get anything good,
Right.
And I kind of knew that going into it. And that's kind of always been my role in adventure film, has been kind of that embedded person that is able to get themselves in with teams or athletes and get good stuff and get out. So that's, kind of what happened. It's not like I did the entire race by any means. I mean, it's one of those
drop in as along the
yeah
line.
on the trekking legs, mainly, because that's where.
But he did the hardest trekking leg.
What was that? Peat? The peat stuff? Is that what you're talking about?
Well, yeah, that's all over Patagonia, but he did what is called the monster trek, so the biggest trek, and there is no getting out once you start. So once he started, he had to finish with us.
Carrying gear. I mean,
Baller.
you were all carrying gear, but he's carrying a camera. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah. I mean, that takes a lot of trust on the part of Chelsey and the rest of the team as well. Because I mean, when I'm like, hey, I want to follow you through this 95K section, and the race staff has told me you're stuck. Like, you stay with them, or you have an SOS button to get a helicopter. I'm going to charge you $10,000 for it.
Right. Please don't do that.
So yeah, please don't. So I mean, they knew me, I think, just well enough, or maybe they were desperate enough for the film that they were like, yeah, come on board. But I think something that's really important in filmmaking, and especially documentary filmmaking, is a certain level of empathy. And in adventure filmmaking, it's really hard not to be a participant as well. And so that section was kind of the epitome of that. It was like, there were a lot of times that I was thinking about the content and trying to form the story in my head as I went along and how to frame that.
Yeah.
But there were definitely times that I was like, I'm just going to put one foot in front of the other here and try not to fall off this ridge. Yeah. So
do you guys have any bloopers stories for me, or anything,
probably if we had more sleep, we could remember them.
That scene when you're on top of the mountain and everyone's arguing about which way to go, I was like, wow, that reminds me of a few bad college parties or something. Come on, everybody.
Yeah, it really is like that sometimes, where, I mean, for the racers, they're so in it, they're living it, and sometimes filming it, you're kind of like, this is a really, really strange situation to be in, and they have no idea right now. Someone watching this maybe months and months from now will think the same thing that I'm thinking right now, but they have no idea. To them, they're just trying to get through it. I don't know, is there anything that comes to mind for you, Chelsey?
The bloopers. Yeah, we were so sleep deprived. I mean, watching that video, you can just tell how out of it we were. Especially for that trek. Well, the start of it, I was going into it, I think we had only had like 3 hours sleep, and we had been racing for a few days already. So we were starting to go, like, our sleep monsters were starting to come out for me, and like packing my bag, and I was just like so disoriented. And then once it got dark that first night on that trek, I was just like, oh man, I gotta sleep. But he caught a good blooper of us. I thought it was genius, of the filming us before the race, how fast we were setting up the tent, and then filming us in there, just like, oh, it was horrible. And it was like the worst spot to camp, like to set up for the night, but I was just bonking so hard. And so he caught that on video, I thought that was genius. And I mean, there was a lot of falls in the peat bog in the trek before that, for sure. And then there's just like super funny moments. I mean, that, like, I don't even know if I can say, just like, you get super intimate with your team.
Yeah.
Well, the river crossing was good too.
Yeah.
That was.
Yeah, there's a lot of nudity. I mean, just all barriers just completely fall off. In the first 24 hours, even, you just like let it all out. You're just like, here I am.
But that's that corporealness, that that humanness that then relates back to what you were dealing with and bringing along, which is grief and death and real life, and the parallels are really, really beautiful in there, I think.
Yeah.
Scott, go ahead, Chelsey, sorry.
Oh no, I'm just saying it was very beautiful. Yeah.
Scott, in terms of crafting the story and editing as a writer, I'm always interested in that. Did the story arc come together really easily? I mean, obviously they won the race, so that helped, but did you have a lot of time in the editing room, or was the story kind of already there the way you wanted it to be?
Yeah, that was, I mean, kind of shooting the race, I approached Chelsey with the idea, and I had no idea that it might turn into something. It's just kind of like, because just with the unpredictability of the race, of what I could capture, of what the team might, they could drop out in the second day and we'd have 10 minutes of footage, like
Right.
anything could have happened.
Right.
So for it to turn out the way they did, that they won, that Revel was on the way as they crossed the finish line,
That was amazing.
just
Yeah.
all the stuff that they handed to me that I could not have written, so I'm very appreciative of that. Yeah, so I think it was a long edit. I think really I was kind of piecing it together, and there was a lot of race footage that was coming together, and it was like, it was kind of cool race footage, but it needed to really tell a story with heart, and with part of that was pain. And so I think kind of the moment that like I understood the film was there was a day I got, Chelsey sent me a download link to a folder just containing all the footage and pictures from the hospital, which again was one of those things that I never even would have thought to have asked for. But I think after one of our interviews, they just said like, hey, we held this stuff in hospital. We haven't seen it. We're not going to look at it, but we can find it and send you, the folder. And going through that stuff was, I mean, it was really hard day. It took me all day of editing just to like kind of make selects from it, because it was just a lot of stepping out for breaks. And I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there, and it's incredibly raw. The stuff that's in the film is raw, and there's a lot of stuff that's not in the film. But it was, I mean, I think it really helps the film, and it really helped me to tell the film, because like I said, I'm coming at this from my own lens, and that lens does not include any of these experiences. So to be there in that hospital room, I think was really necessary for me to understand the story as a whole, and kind of how to approach it. And even though a lot of the film was already cut, it kind of shaped how I cut the rest of it, and how I reshaped some of the rest of it to bring that emotion, throughout the whole thing, and end in that catharsis, hopefully more powerfully.
Definitely. I think that footage adds an emotional weight and reality. I mean, for someone who hasn't been through an experience like that, right? You're like, oh wow, that's what that looks like.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
It was brave, Chelsey. He's not wrong. You're brave. I mean, I've been through something like this, and I've written about my own experience a lot. I've shared it a lot, but watching the film from the beginning, that's brave. Just to put it all out there, but it's healing too.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very healing to let that go and see it. It was very hard. I've actually only seen the video once.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
or I just skip past the first few
Does it
minutes.
get you? Yeah.
Yeah, the first 7 or 8 minutes. But yeah, it was a big like, let this go. Don't hold on to it, and see what he does with it. And I thought it was beautiful what he did with it. And yeah, it felt like a release when I first saw it, and we watched it together with my husband, and actually Max, Spirit's twin brother. And Max watched the whole thing, sat with us, and
Wow. That's cool.
asked us questions. And he asks about him all the time. And so it's nice. We are a very open family, and we're just like, all right, let's share this and see what comes.
That's cool. So what's next for both of you? What are you still racing at the same pace, Chelsey? Are you still?
Yeah, I'm sure trying. My husband got to do Eco Challenge. I was actually slated to go with the team, but I had Revel. He was 2 weeks at the time that my husband and team left. And our other woman teammate who did go, she had just had an 8-month-old. So luckily she was able to go and excited to go. But now, I've had a year, 2 years of just a little bit of racing, not big expedition races, but hopefully for 2021, we have a few on our schedule, and I'm in it. I'm fully ready. Just got back from a competition that I was so out of my element, but it was fun and gave me some inspiration. And then this weekend I'm racing just a little 6-hour race that my husband is putting on, but with 3 other women, and I'm really excited it's my first all women in years, all women team. So I'm excited. And yeah, we have some expedition races slated for next year, and hopefully Eco Challenge will come back. So yeah, we're doing it as best we can.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How about you, Scott? What you working on?
Oh, I've been trying to make money. It's been a nice change of pace. No, it's been I mean, obviously it's been a really slow year, so it's been a good opportunity to catch up on a lot of passion projects that have been, waiting for the time of day to to be touched again. So we shot a narrative feature last summer that we've been picking away at, and yeah, have more plans for more adventure race films. I think there's, I mean, if anything, Eco Challenge on Amazon taught us is that there's so much room and opportunity for that sport to bring us just countless inspiring stories and really powerful stories. So yeah, I'm still always scheming of ways to kind of advance that along and just get muddy with the camera, really.
Yeah, he's coming out this weekend to our race. He's
Awesome.
gonna film, and then he's gonna film our America's Toughest race, which is right here in Bend as well. It's a 5-day race that we're putting on. So Scott's like our main man, because we know that he'll run with teams, he'll get dirty, he'll get out of the transition areas where everyone is. He'll get to those spots where no other videographer will go. So we just send him out, and it's awesome what footage he gets and what ideas come out of his head are just insanely inspiring, and we're just super excited to be a part of it. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Awesome. Well, we have about 2 more minutes. You guys have anything else you want to share with the world?
Well, I'm just super honored to be a part of this, and that Bend Film Festival picked Scott's film, and that I was featured in it and was able to share my story. And Scott was just willing to put it out there, and like I didn't have to do much. All I just had to do was talk and share. And so yeah, I'm just like super honored to be a part of it. So thank you.
Well, I loved the film, and it was wonderful to talk with both of you today, and hopefully I'll see you around town.
Yeah. How do I read your stories?
You can find them on my website, kimcooperfindling.com.
Okay, cool. I will.
Yeah, it would be great to connect, Chelsey. We should have
Yeah.
coffee.
Yeah, we should talk about our experiences.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, you two. Take care.
All
Beautiful.
right.
Thanks
right.
for talking.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Take
Bye-bye.
care, y'all.
Bye.